So, I know you all have heard of the worse rehearsal, the better the play. Well, what about the worse the wedding, the better the marriage? Or maybe I just say that. Either way, I was one of those little girls who just dreamed about getting married. Like, my Barbie and Ken had a weekly vow renewal ceremony where all of their friends with their little plastic smiles came on to cheer true love and watch them rededicate their lives to each other. So when I met the perfect man, and it took him 7 years to propose, I made engagement chicken. You know that engagement chicken from Glamour magazine where you put the lemons and the chicken and the herbs and the butter? I made that like a couple dozen times. Shocker, it doesn't work. Anyway, so when he finally proposed, I was so excited. I was going to have the perfect husband, the perfect dress, corset, fit and flare, eggshell white, and the perfect day. So much so that I had signed up for a half marathon. That is 13.1 miles. 6 weeks before my wedding, just so I can be in shape for my perfect dress. So we were about 3 weeks before the wedding when my bridesmaids threw an amazing bachelorette party. They had every detail covered, all the way to having a makeup artist come to the hotel the night of the bachelorette party to make over my face. And honey, I was beat. Well, that is until the next morning when I woke up and I felt a red heat emanating from my jaw. I ran to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. Sure, I looked a little flushed, but maybe I was a little bit hungover. So I just went home and I said, okay, let me sleep this off and see what happens. Until 2 days later, I started having hives all over my face. Red welts had covered my jaw. I ran to the doctor where she prescribed me a 5-day course of steroids. She said, go ahead and take these steroids. You should be perfectly fine at day 6. You'll be perfect for your wedding day, don't worry. So 2 weeks before my wedding, day 6, my face had gotten better. But day 7, I woke up to my pigmentation missing. My melanin was gone. I went from 1970s Michael Jackson to 1990s Michael Jackson in a matter of a few hours. I had officially freaked out. Went back to the dermatologist. She prescribed me another course of steroids. Only this time, I had to put them on my face. So it was a cream. I had to rub it on my face every few hours. I looked a hot, greasy mess. But I was going to look perfect. I was going to get married. Until 10 days before my wedding, my now husband and I received a phone call from the pastor of the church where we were getting married. And he said, you know, I am so sorry, but the music that you submitted to us 6 months ago, like we asked you to in the contract, we finally listened to it, and it's a little too secular, so you can't get married here. I'm sorry, what? He said, well, you know, you have John Legend and Beyonce. Maybe if you had some Luther Vandross, it should be fine. I'm sorry, I'm 28, not 58. This is not what's gonna happen here. So after on this conference call with the pastor and our pastor, and mind you, my husband's also kind of a pastor, I said a few words to this pastor that were not in the Bible. So I talked to my mom. She got everything covered. We ended up moving the wedding to the reception space at the hotel. It was perfectly fine. Okay. Until 5 days before the wedding. I started feeling this pain kind of in my hip area. And like I told you, I had signed up for a half marathon. I ran the half marathon with my best friend. And at that point, I was pulling muscles all the time. So that really was nothing until I looked down at my waistline and I saw these little red bumps. So I called my mom, who is an RN, and she said, send me a picture of those bumps. I want to see what they look like. So I sent her the picture. She immediately called me back and said, I think you have shingles, but I think you should go to the doctor and have them confirm it because, I'm not a doctor, I'm just an RN. Thanks, Mommy. So I ran to the doctor. The doctor confirmed that, yes, in fact, I did have shingles. You know what causes shingles? 3 things. 1, if you're 65 and older. 2, if you take steroids, which at this point I'd had about 2 weeks full of them. Or 3, if you are stressed out. I'm sorry, I'm planning a wedding where the venue just got changed and my face blew up, and yeah, I'm a little stressed right now. So the doctor sat me down and said, I'm tired of you coming here. I need you to chill out. I'm gonna give you some medication for the shingles. You may not be okay right away, but for your honeymoon, you should be perfectly fine. Okay. So now we're at the day of my wedding, the perfect day that I had dreamed about since I was a little girl. And I was in pain. Shingles is like if you get a metal hanger and you light it on fire and then you start scratching your skin really, really hard with it. That's kind of what it feels like. And at this point, the medicine really wasn't working. So when my bridesmaids and my mom went to put my dress on, that dress that I was so pressed to have the corset boning and the fit and flare, as they pulled the dress up the shingles, as they attempted to attach it to me, I was in tears. Also, it doesn't really help that at that point I had gained about 7 pounds because of all the steroids that I had been taking. And there is a picture with one bridesmaid on one side, one bridesmaid on the other side, my mom squeezing the dress clothes in the back, and my sister pulling the zipper, and my face was just like, stop it now, Jesus, this is not gonna work. Until my grandmother, who saw all this going on, knew I had shingles, walked up to me and said, would you like some Vicodin? Why, Grammy, I would. I snatched the pill from her hand, popped it in my mouth. My mother comes running over to me and says, did your grandmother just give you drugs? I immediately swallowed the pill before she can pry it from my mouth. My mother runs after my grandmother, who has escaped from the room at this point because she knows she's about to get it. And I am waiting for the Vicodin to wash over me, and I'm going to feel so much better. My mother comes back into the room and says, if you drink anything at this open bar wedding while you're high on Vicodin, I will have your stomach pumped in your wedding dress, and I am calling Channel 4 so they can see it. Okay, Mommy. So at this point, I start to feel the Vicodin, and I had never had a Vicodin before. I was high as a kite. Like, so high that by the time we got to where the ceremony started, I was missing a ring bearer. I was like, go on with the wedding. There are pictures of me walking down the aisle. Guys, I'm mortified, mortified. My husband is staring at me like, are you okay? I am so high that I don't really know if I'm actually married, so we may want to do this again at like year 10, you never know. So throughout the entire ceremony, I am giggling. I think everything is funny. Like, I had a good old time, let me tell you. But through it all, through all the mishaps that happened, the worse the wedding, the better the marriage. And I could not be more happy with my perfect man of the last 4.5 years. Thank you.